It's time now for Real Estate Update. With Usha Chandra of Globenet Realty, real estate is our world.
Now we're standing here face to face, afraid to move or else.
This very exciting segment of Weekly Real Estate with Usha Chandra of Globenet Realty, exclusive to Australian Indian Radio. And welcome to the first show of June. And June is the end of financial year month, and everyone gets ready to prepare for tax time and everything. Like might be a good time to invest in property. We'll find out. But as promised, last week we said that this week we will be looking at Labor government's announcement for housing affordability and what it means for the Australian property market. With that, let's welcome to the show to Usha.
Thank you so much for having me on the show on Australian Indian Radio and Ms. Chandra.
And yes, it's always wonderful to have you on the show right now. So, as per our promise for last week, so what does, in a nutshell, of course, we know this, it is quite complex, there's a lot of things to be looked at, but, just in a nutshell, what does the Labor government and the housing affordability mean?
Yes, extremely good news for first home buyers. What the Labor government means for housing affordability and the Australian property market. What a Labor government means that the headline Help to Buy scheme is likely to be popular with prospective home buyers as it provides a more affordable entry point to the Australian housing market for those individuals on low to mid-level incomes. This will contribute to more equality in rates of ownership, home ownership across income cohorts, and could create more opportunities for key workers to live in a more central area. Being able to share up to 40% of the purchase price with the government, along with only a small deposit and opportunity to save on lenders' mortgage insurance, helps to overcome several of the hurdles of home ownership. Keeping in mind, buyers still have to fund their transactional costs, including stamp duties, legal costs, and bank fees. With the capped of 10,000 places only, the scheme could become quickly oversubscribed as prospective Australian home buyers take advantage of the leg up to the housing market. So very good news for the first home buyers with the government grant and up to 40% of the deposit. So they need only 2% deposit, and the government will hold the ownership part of the ownership of the property as well.
Yes, I was going to ask about that. So being able to share up to 40% of the purchase price with the government. So what does that mean, that 40% of the purchase price will be shared with the government along with only a small deposit? It helps, okay. Okay, so we will have to look at that in a little bit more detail as we go along as well. Well, right now, so moving on, so what are the key pointers of this scheme? First of all, let's look at the capital cities, then we'll probably look at regional areas as well. So what are the key takeaways from this scheme for homeowners in the major areas?
Yes, looking at the government will help up to 40%, as we said before, of the property price for new homes. 30% of established household source the rest of the finance with as little as 2% deposit. Government holds part ownership stake of the property, which can be bought out over the time. Spots are only 10,000, so only 10,000 first home buyers will have a chance to buy the property. Income capped, so income is quite high actually. Income for individuals is 90k, and for couples 120,000. So they have to have that sort of income to qualify for that scheme. Property price capped varies by region from 400,000 to 950,000. Restricted to owner-occupier home buyers who don't currently own a property. So that means that you can't own a property, it has to be first home buyers, and this one will commence in July 2022. So it's coming very, very quickly.
It is, it's been announced. Okay, so the key things there which you have just mentioned is very good, meaning that there's 10,000 spots available to people who are earning as individuals 90K, and as a couples, if you're earning up to 120K, you could be eligible. Yeah, 120K. Yeah, they could be eligible. And the property prices are also kept. So the property has to be between 400K to 950K. And you rightfully mentioned that it is only to owner-occupiers who don't currently own any property. Right. Okay, so thank you very much for explaining all that. Now, of course, the other part of the equation was the regional properties. So, we know that that is varying a little bit different from the major capital cities. So what are the key pointers on the regional areas?
The government also provides the deposit guarantee for regional home buyers as well, but their deposit is much higher, 5%, and there are also 10,000 spots for the regional area as well. The income cap is much higher than for first home buyers in the more central areas. Income capped 125 for individual and 200,000 for couples. So it's much higher, still 10,000 spots, but the income has to be higher. Property price capped varies by region from 350K to 800K, will be reviewed half yearly. Restricted to home owner occupiers who haven't previously owned a property and have been living in the region for 12 months. There is another restriction, so they have to live there for 12 months before they qualify for that grant. Commences on January 2023, so next year in January. So that's a little bit higher for regional areas, and deposit is higher as well, and the prices and income has to be higher as well.
Right, so there's a clear distinction between the two. One commences in July and this one commences in 2023. I like that part where it says restricted to owner-occupiers, which is in both the areas. But in this one, it says that you must have lived in the region for 12 months. This is what they should have for politicians when they go for elections, that they should have lived in that area for at least 12 months rather than just coming in. I think that's a good rule there, that you're not just going in there and just because you want to take benefit of this scheme, but it means that you were genuinely living in the area and now you want to go into the market of owning their home. So that's it. So when you look at all those criteria, of course, there might not be many houses or many people that actually qualify for those schemes. So in a nutshell, first of all, looking at houses, then also looking at the units. Let's take a look at the number of suburbs meeting this labour's housing price threshold.
Yes, mostly it's in the regional areas. Sydney and regional centres, 950 is their capped price, so they can buy up to 950,000. Number of suburbs is 214, and the 26.8%. Regional New South Wales is 600,000 and 136 suburbs, the number of suburbs they can buy in, and 37.9%. Looking at let's have a quick look at the units as well. And Sydney regional areas 259, and regional New South Wales is 52. Melbourne and Victoria regional centres, 850 is their capped price, 138 is the suburbs, number of suburbs, and the units as well, 237 suburbs. And looking at regional Victoria, 550 is their price, and 81 suburbs. And in the unit sections, 31 suburbs. Brisbane and Queensland regional centres, 650 is their price, capped price, 101 suburbs, and 186 units in those suburbs as well. Regional Queensland is 500,000, 224 suburbs. Adelaide is 550. Regional South Australia is 400, and regional South Perth is 550. Regional Western Australia is 400, Hobart is 550, regional Tasmania is 400, Northern Territory is 550, ACT is 600. So that's the total prices they can buy in. That's the maximum prices, and those are the suburbs on the screen. So we won't go into lot of details there, but it's all in the screen. People can have a quick look at it, and that's the number of portions of suburbs in meeting the labour housing price thresholds.
And wonderful report there, Shabda. And of course, looking at that in a nutshell, throughout the country, there's 1,222 suburbs that meet that criteria, and for houses, and about 1,077 suburbs which qualify with the units. So in a nutshell, well, right now, so that's been as per our promise that this week we will be looking at that in a nutshell. And as you have rightfully mentioned in the very beginning, that with only 10,000 spots in the cities and 10,000 spots on the regional areas, this will be just taken up very, very quickly as well. It will be good to see what there will be. Now, very quickly, because today we've spent a fair bit of time on looking at that report as per our promise in the previous show. Let's go and take a look at what's happening with the property market on the week ending the last week of May.
Just looking at the auction activity and clearance rate rose across the combined capitals after slump in the number of auctions amidst last week's federal election. So looking at the results, quite busy week, recording the busiest auction week since the pre-Easter spike. Auction activity across the combined capital cities rebounded sharply last week, nearly doubling the number of auctions held last week during the federal election slump of 1,672, with 3,229 auctions held across the combined capitals. The volume of auctions were held last week was up by 11.2%, so quite high from the 2,905 held this time last year. After trending downwards of 5 consecutive weeks, the combined capital preliminary clearance rose 80 basis point last week, with 63.7% of the 2,528 results collected so far, returning to a successful result. Last week's preliminary clearance rate of 62.9% was revised down to 61.3% at the final figures, while this time last year was 73.5% of auctions held were successful. So it's down by over 11% from compared to last year. So still quite good results compared to the last 3-4 weeks, but down by 10-12% from last year.
And of course, from the last report, yes, and in looking at all of those, how does it equate to when you look at that it is rebounded a little bit after the election part, and now the government's stabilized, meaning there's a new government in place, so the uncertainty is out. So looking at all of that in a very quick nutshell, looking at all the major capital cities in terms of auctions, what have the results been?
Let's have a quick look at the Sydney clearance rate, 62.8%. 1,119 properties were taken to auction, and the cleared auctions was only 546. Melbourne is 62.9%. 1,460 properties were taken to auction, and the cleared result was 767. Brisbane was 55.1%, quite down there. 252 properties were taken to auction, only 98 sold under the hammer. Adelaide was 79.4%, quite good result in Adelaide. 224 properties were taken to auction and 104 sold under the hammer. Adelaide was down as well, 53.3%. 20 properties were taken to auction, 8 sold under the hammer. Tasmania was not applicable. Canberra was 73.5%, 149 properties taken to auction, and 83 sold under the hammer. So looking at the average, 63.7% of the combined capital cities, 3,229 properties were taken to auction, and basically 1,606 sold under the hammer.
And again, looking at all those results is still quite good. Looking at all of that result, what does it equate to in terms of what's available in the market, what has come on the market, what are the listings nationwide?
Yes, looking at the listings, let's start with Brisbane first. 4,327 new properties. Sydney was 7,115 properties. Canberra was new listings is 662, and Melbourne is 8,303 listings. So going up in Melbourne, and Sydney is down, and Brisbane is down as well. Looking at Adelaide, 1,913 properties were listed, and Darwin is 232 new properties. Perth was 4,280, quite high results there as well. And Hobart is gone down as well, 352 new properties. So looking, the properties are coming on the market, but it was a little bit slow.
So properties are coming on the market, so that is wonderful news there. Well, right now, having covered those major areas of the things, is there anything you'd like to talk about in your area?
Looking at our area north side of Boondall, Brisbane in Boondall, and it's the market is slow, a little bit slow as well. We had an auction on Saturday. We had a couple of offers, but it didn't sell under the hammer because the reserve was extremely high, about $150,000 higher than what it was worth. So it didn't sell, but we have got few new listings coming on the market. So we have got a couple of open houses booked this coming Saturday, and I would like to talk about this Benio festival as well, which is on this coming Saturday. We are having a stall. Globenet Realty is having a stall, so the girls are all geared to go there. It will start from 11 o'clock till 4 o'clock, I think. So please come over and visit our stall. It's at the Benio festival, so and we look forward to welcome you at our stall. We have got, the girls have got some goodie bags as well. So it's all organized. Hopefully the weather will be good, so everybody can come and visit us and enjoy the festival as well. And we have got a couple of open houses this coming Saturday. We've got new listing at 272 Muller Road. I've sold a couple of in Muller Road, 272 Muller Road, and that will be at 10 o'clock. And then we've got a new listing at Beara Street. That will be open house at 11 o'clock. So, and then we'll be all going to the Benio Festival. So, thank you so much for having me on the show, and hope to see you all at the Benio Festival.
And wonderful to have you. Yes, and the Benio Festival. Just for our listeners, could you tell us where exactly is it?
It's in Tufnell Road, and it's I haven't got the actual address with me at the moment, but it's in Benio. It's been happening there for a long time. So it's in one of the parks in Benio.
And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's about all we have for you in this segment of the weekly real estate update with Usha Chandra, and quite an informative session today, especially looking at that affordability and part ownership scheme introduced by Labor government, and to look at what the key pointers are on that. So until next week, it's goodbye from us.
Longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area, Usha Chandra, Director of Globenet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. Globenet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. Globenet Realty. Real estate is our world.